Sakafet YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Let's cook with me from start to finish. Hello my darlings, it's so nice to have you back here in my kitchen for yet another amazing recipe. We're jumping straight into it. Over here I've got my lentils. It's a mixture of green and brown lentils. I'm going to be adding half a cup to a pan, give it a good rinse, then put about 3 cups of water in the pan and let that cook for about 20 minutes on low heat. Over here I've got my fish. I found this in my freezer. Like I told you guys, I've been emptying out my freezer. I found this free fish in there and I thought, you know what, we're gonna make some stew fish. Okay, so go ahead, give your fish a good clean. I did go ahead and wash it with some cold water and lemon juice, and then I'm just using some paper towels just to dab off any excess moisture before going in with some salt, some black pepper, and some all-purpose seasoning. Give that a good mix, and then you want to set that to a side just so you can marinate for a few minutes. Okay. So whilst my lentils were still boiling, I did go ahead and prep up some veg. I'm gonna be making some squash, red pepper, and some green beans today. So go ahead and just prep everything. I just like to do my bell peppers, cut off the tips of my green beans, and then clean up my squash as well. I'm not using all of it. I just tend to use a little of everything just to make a really colorful veg. And yes, my darlings, really self-explanatory. And once everything is done being prepped, I like to go ahead and wash it with some cold water and some vinegar. This is just preference, and yes, my darlings, it's looking so good. Once everything was washed, I've got my pan here, just using this cast iron pan. I've had it for so long and I love it. It's so pretty. And I'm just gonna layer up my veg in the pan, okay? Just add my green beans, my squash, and I'm also gonna add my peppers and season it up. Make sure to check down below for all the seasonings I use. Usually for my veg, I just like to use some all-purpose seasonings, some mixed herbs, black pepper, butter, and I don't add any liquid to it. I pretty much let it steam down. But yeah, pretty much the same seasonings for my veg every time I steam it. But again, check down below for everything that I use if you're not sure. veg is all prepped and I'm gonna leave it to one side. Over here it's been about 20 minutes, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and check on my peas. It's already cooked, so I'm gonna add in some thyme, some scotch bonnet pepper. I also have some frozen coconut milk in an ice cube tray. I find that my coconut milk always used to go to waste whenever I would use some over can, and then I don't know what to do with the rest. I find when I freeze it in an ice cube tray, I always get to use it, which is perfect. So yes, darlings, I use about 5 cubes, and this is about quarter cup, and then I go in with a little bit of salt, and you can add some all-purpose seasoning in there too. Okay, you can just season this to your own preference. I like to let it boil for about 10 or 15 minutes before I add in my rice. And yes, my darlings, whilst this is cooking down, I just like to go ahead and wash off my rice, make sure it's all clean, and then I just add it to the lentils like this. Okay, so once I add the rice in, I'm only cooking a cup and a half of rice today, not too much, and then I'm gonna go ahead and let that steam for about 15 to 20 minutes on low heat. Now that the rice is steaming, I did go ahead with my pan and I'm going to add a generous amount of oil to it. Let it heat up for a good 5 minutes before I add in my fish. And I'm just going to go ahead and do 2 at a time, and then I'll do the other one by itself. After about 3 to 4 minutes on a high heat, my fish is looking great. As you can see, it didn't fall apart or break, and that's just because my fish was nice and dry when I seasoned it, and also my oil is nice and hot. It's been about 10 minutes so far. I'm gonna go ahead and remove my fish from the hot oil. Guys, the color on there is absolutely beautiful. As you can see, there was no need for me to coat it with flour. I always tell people coating with flour is optional, and this is proof of that. So go ahead, remove the fish from the pan, and then we're just gonna fry the other one for about 8 to 10 minutes as well. And yes, my loves, it's looking so good, and you can just imagine how amazing it smells. Now that my last fish is out, I did go ahead and discard most of the oil because I just wanted to add fresh oil. But yes, my fish is looking so good. And yes, using the same pan, I did drain off the oil, and then I went back in with a little bit, not much. Then I'm gonna saute some bell peppers, some onions, and some carrots, as well as a heaping spoon of my green seasoning. Usually I would just use green seasoning to make this alone, but I just wanted to add some of the other fresh seasonings to it. Then I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper and some all-purpose seasoning. Let that saute in the oil for a good 3 to 5 minutes on a low to medium heat. And yes, my darlings, once this is nicely cooked, this is why I go in with my sauce. It's been about 5 minutes so far, and my veggies have softened up. For my sauce, it was actually just a cup and a half of water, some ketchup, some soy sauce, and a little honey and black pepper, and then I just let it simmer in there for a good couple of minutes. I also added my thyme, 1 scotch bonnet pepper. Give it about 5 minutes or so before going in with your fish. And yes, my darlings, the sauce was so good. Again, you can check down below for all of the exact measurements, but yes, I like to go in with my fish at this point, and I always have to leave out one so that my children can have, because listen, am I the only one whose kids don't like fish? We don't really make it too often because it's not something that the boys love too much. I enjoy my fish, again, not in excess, just every now and again. And then, I always have to leave out one without the sauce for them because they prefer when the fish is fried dry. Hubby's like that sometimes. And even me, sometimes I'm like, you know what, I just want to have the fish dry, fried by itself. But I didn't mind the sauce today. So I did go ahead, leave that one on the side for them. and then I'm gonna just let the fish cook in the sauce for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so it's looking so good, and yes darlings, it smells so nice. So last minute the boys asked me to add some shrimp to this, and I just quickly add a little bit of black pepper and mixed herbs on some shrimp, and I'm only gonna let it cook for about 3 minutes. Okay, so in the last 3 minutes of the fish being ready, I did go ahead and add my cleaned shrimp to it. Okay, so about 5 minutes in total, everything was looking so good and it's ready. My rice steamed down beautifully, so that coconut, oh gosh, so that coconut lentil rice was so good. Fluff it up, you know, remove the thyme and the scotch bonnet pepper from there as well. And yes my darlings, this is a version of rice and peas that we make in St. Lucia, and it's just the absolute best to have with fried fish. So once I've fluffed up my rice and I'm happy, I did go ahead and cover it up again, and my veg was steaming down on the side. My fish was also ready. I'm gonna top it off with a little bit of parsley, and yes my darlings, this is it, all done. It looks absolutely amazing, and dinner only took half an hour because it was just so quick to make. So go ahead and just check on everything. As you can see, veg is ready, rice is ready, fish is ready, and everything is all ready. I'm gonna plate it up and show you how amazing it all looks. And guys, look at this beautiful plate. Look at this beautiful plate. Thank you so much for watching my cook with me, and I can't wait to see you in my next one.